So, a man lay at the bottom of a crevasse in the Peruvian Andes, alone with a broken leg, in the dark, 3 days from base camp. No rescue team was coming. His climbing partner believed he was dead. The central question this case raises is not whether survival was likely, it was not, but how the documented sequence of constraints and decisions produced the outcome it did. In June 1985, Joe Simpson and Simon Yates traveled to the Cordillera Huayhuash range in Peru to attempt Siula Grande by its west face. According to Simpson's memoir, Touching the Void, published in 1988, this was an ambitious alpine-style climb. 2 people, moving fast and light, without a fixed rope network or support team in position above base camp. A third member of the expedition, Richard Hawking, remained at base camp. The west face had not been climbed by that route before. The ascent, by Simpson's account, succeeded. The descent is where everything changed. During the descent of Siula Grande, Simpson sustained a serious leg injury. The sources corroborate this without specifying the exact mechanism or precise location on the mountain. What the memoir establishes and what the academic sources independently confirm is that the injury was severe and that it occurred while the 2 climbers were still high on the mountain, far from base camp, in deteriorating conditions. What followed placed Simpson in a situation defined almost entirely by what was not available to him. There was no helicopter access to that altitude in those conditions. There was no third climber positioned high on the route. Radio communication of the kind that would later become standard on high-altitude expeditions was not part of this 2-person alpine push. The nearest town was far beyond base camp. The nearest qualified medical care was further still. In practical terms, the mountain above the Cordillera Huayhuash in 1985 offered no external mechanism for rescue once a climber was separated from his partner and presumed dead. Yates, according to Simpson's account, attempted to lower Simpson down the mountain using a rope system after the injury. This was the first consequential decision in the chain. Rather than leaving Simpson where he was, Yates worked to move him downward. The 2 made progress. Then conditions forced a second, far more severe decision. At some point during the lowering, Simpson went over an edge and ended up suspended in space above a crevasse, unable to signal his position effectively to Yates above him and unable to ascend. Yates, holding the rope in deteriorating weather, could not pull Simpson up. He could not know exactly what lay below. According to Simpson's memoir, Yates cut the rope. Simpson fell into the crevasse. This is the moment the episode title references, and it is worth being precise about what the sources actually support. The fall into the crevasse is documented in Simpson's own account. The decision Yates made, cutting the rope, was later the subject of significant discussion within the mountaineering community. But no inquiry or formal record reviewed here assigns blame or establishes that a different outcome was available to Yates at that moment, given the conditions he faced. Simpson himself, writing in his memoir, does not condemn the decision. The sources do not support a villain. They support a situation in which both men were operating at the edge of what was physically possible. Simpson survived the fall. He landed on a snow ledge inside the crevasse rather than falling through to the bottom. He was alive, alone, in the dark, injured, and enclosed by ice walls. Yates, believing no one could have survived, descended to base camp. Hawking and Yates began preparations to leave, as documented in the memoir's account of base camp events during this period. What Simpson did next is the core of the documented survival sequence. He could not climb straight up and out of the crevasse. According to his account, he descended further into the crevasse to find a slope of snow that led upward to the surface on the far side. This decision, moving deeper into the mountain before moving out, is the kind of counterintuitive physical problem-solving that appears in the record without embellishment. It was not inspiration, it was constraint. The only navigable exit was through the bottom. Once on the glacier's surface, Simpson faced the full weight of his situation. He had a broken leg. He was alone on a glacier at high altitude. Base camp was several kilometers away across broken, crevassed terrain. He could not walk normally. According to the memoir, he moved by a technique of hopping on his good leg and using his ice axes, making progress in stages, resting, and continuing. The account describes this process taking multiple days. The physical deterioration over those days is documented in Simpson's own account. Dehydration, hunger, exhaustion, and the compounding effects of altitude and cold working against a body already stressed by serious injury. Each stage of the journey reduced what was available for the next stage. He melted snow for water where he could. He moved when he could move. He stopped when he had to stop. The timeline by which Simpson reached base camp is attributed to his memoir rather than independently measured. What the sources establish is that he arrived at base camp, by his account, on the morning that Yates and Hawking had been preparing to leave. The precision of that near miss is documented in the memoir. It is not reconstructed here as independently verified to the hour. Yates and Hawking were still at the camp. Simpson received emergency care and was eventually evacuated. The injuries he sustained required significant medical treatment and recovery. Simpson's account of the long-term physical consequences is part of the memoir's record, though the sources reviewed here do not include medical records that would allow independent verification of specific injury details. Touching the Void was published in 1988 and later adapted into a documentary film. The account became one of the most discussed survival narratives in mountaineering literature, not because the story is instructional. It is not, in this episode, makes no survival recommendations, but because it documents with unusual honesty the compounding nature of high-altitude accident, the limits of partner rescue, and the decisions made under conditions that left almost no good options. The case is documented well enough to establish the sequence: a successful ascent, a descent injury, an attempt at mutual rescue that reached its physical limit, a rope cut, a fall, a crevasse exit, and a multi-day traverse on a broken leg to a base camp that was hours from departure. What it does not establish, and what this narration does not claim, is any certainty about what Simpson thought at each moment, what Yates felt when he made his decision, or what would have happened under different conditions. What the documented record demonstrates about this specific case is narrower and more durable than the dramatic framing often applied to it. Two climbers operating without support at high altitude in 1985 encountered a sequence of failures that outpaced their ability to recover as a team. One survived a fall that by any reasonable physical assessment should have been fatal. The survival was not a matter of superior willpower or unusual heroism in the abstract sense. It was a matter of a snow ledge being in a particular place, of a crevasse having a navigable exit, and of a man moving his body across a glacier for several days until he reached the only people who could help him. The margin was documented as extremely narrow. The mechanism was physical. The outcome was not guaranteed until it happened.